It's so funny because I actually remember when I started Theatre Peckham Rep Company, this was the very early days of the podcast. But people were obviously, we were all trying to get to know each other. So we were like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? I was like, oh, I have a podcast. And one of my friends, she was like, oh my gosh, so is that your job? Is that how you make money? I was like, I wish someone please pay me for the podcast. If that could be my full-time thing, I'd be happy.
Welcome to Platform Z, or Z, whichever you prefer. Join me, Noah Lennon, as I speak with my generation about a range of topics and themes in the present day. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the 20th episode of the podcast. Today, I'm speaking with an ascending creative artist. This young lady operates across multiple fronts in acting, modeling, podcasting, dancing, and facilitating. She's an alumnus of the Kingdom School of Arts, as well as Identity Drama School of Acting, and is an active National Youth Theatre member. After completing the Theatre Peckham 2025 Rep Company, she went on to perform in Roots, a double bill of plays at Theatre Peckham from October 2nd to 4th, 2025, in collaboration with the London-based youth organisation Young, Gifted and Black. In August 2024, she began the podcast Young and Unscripted alongside Panya Sadagian and Naomi Loon, hosting guests such as Giles Torreira MBE, Roy Williams, Philip J. Morris, and more. She's a good friend of mine and a steadfast, joyous, and poised soul. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sienna Galea-Tudor.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, what an intro.
Thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you on. To begin, Sienna, would you like to explain what Young and Unscripted is? Take us back to that first conversation at Nando's.
Yes, let's do it. As you mentioned in the intro, I was a part of Identity School of Acting, and that's where I met Naomi and Panya. And one day after class, we just went to Nando's, as you do, and we started talking about how great it would be if everyone could listen to our conversations. We were kind of at that point where we were like, you know what? I think the world needs to hear this. We have some valid points to say. I knew of a studio in London called Creative House, which is free for 18 to 25-year-olds, although unfortunately it's closed down now. But at the time I knew about the studio and I knew it was free and I knew they had a podcast studio. So I said to the girls, you know what? Let's book a session. Let's see what happens. Let's see where the wind takes us. So I booked it in. And we went. We had no idea what we were doing. All we said was, everyone come in pink. And I didn't even come in pink. I came in black. So I missed the memo for that. And we were like, let's make it about the creative industry. We're all starting our creative journeys. Let's document it. Let's use this as a form of documentation. So we kind of filmed the first episode off of a whim. We didn't think that it was really going to go anywhere. We thought we'd maybe just do this episode and a few more, but we didn't think we'd be doing it a year and a half later. I think it's at that point where we had to kind of figure out, okay, what is this podcast? We knew we wanted to document our journey, but we didn't know exactly what was our niche, what was going to connect us to other people. And I feel like there's a lot of podcasts at the moment from your A-list celebrities and from those really established actors, which of course I love listening to. I respect them so much in the industry, but sometimes it's hard to relate because I'm not at that point yet. But saying that, of course, we've still gone to classes, we're still training, and we're definitely on that journey. So it's not just that we're training and we're not trying to actively seek opportunities. We want to still seek those opportunities. So I think that was really our niche, and that's where Young and Unscripted, the full brand of it, was really formed. We knew that we wanted to be that space for people who were in the industry but were struggling on where the next steps would take them.
Your pilot episode, I went back to watch it, and you mentioned that at the beginning of the podcast, the aim was to document our moments and hopefully our wins. That was your quote, showing you the whole journey, not just the highlights, but the knockbacks as well. Reflecting on that, how do you feel that's gone so far? 1 year and a half almost in.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind. And it's something, as you said, that I was really making sure that I was very passionate about telling, because I don't want people to just think that this is the easiest industry ever. And I think that Hollywood kind of has that effect on people when they think, oh yeah, they've made it, they're doing this or they're doing a show. And it's so interesting actually, because I was speaking to some of my friends who aren't in the industry, and they were like, oh, Sienna, you are killing it. Everything you post, like, it seems like you're doing so much. And then I spoke to Naomi and I said, if only they knew. If only they knew what went on behind the scenes. And this is one win out of a million no's that I've had. This time last year, I was supposed to be doing a show. I was doing a show in Edinburgh, and it never happened. And that was so hard for me because I invested so much time and energy into it. I was so excited to do it with my friends, and it unfortunately didn't go ahead. And it's really hard when things don't happen, but I wanted to make sure that I was open about that on the podcast, because I don't want people to just think that everything you do is amazing and that everything is a great success. You know what? I learned just as much from that experience as I did from doing Roots, as you previously mentioned, which was intense, but I loved it. And that was a successful show. You know, we got featured on the BBC. We did great things with that, but I learned just as much from the thing that didn't go well.
Wow. On the note of Roots, I heard that you started vlogging the process, but then you lost the vlog because you were so locked into the craft, as one would be. I found out when you were younger, you actually did YouTube.
Yeah, I did. It must have been lockdown, and I was bored, I guess, you know, in lockdown in the house. I'm a creative, so I wanted to create, I wanted to do things. And actually, what started off my journey was during lockdown. I thought, you know what, how can I exercise this passion of mine? How can I be creative? So I started this thing on Instagram originally. It was called Being Spontaneous with Sienna, and it was weekly episodes. I would do a live every single day in lockdown. I wouldn't do Saturday and Sunday, but on the weekdays I would do a live, and each day would be different. And I did it with my friends. So there was one day, I can't remember exactly what day was what, but I know that I did a cooking episode with my friend Lily, a curly hair episode. I did a makeup episode. And again, it's so interesting because that was all about me learning through failure as well. Because, okay, hair, I knew a bit about, but cooking and makeup, I am useless in that department. So I was really learning from my friends, and it was funny. I was burning, I think me and my friend Lily, we were making honeycomb or something, and I burnt the pan, and, you know, that was all on the live. It was tragic, but it was funny. And then I had, I think it was like Talking Thursdays. On those Thursdays, I would invite different guests on, which kind of started my passion for interviewing. And we talk about different things. So I had on my dad, and we talked about cricket and his journey. Then I started YouTube, just as a bigger platform. But on YouTube, I actually wasn't interviewing. I was doing curly hair videos, because again, I feel like I've always been in my curly hair journey. I'm even trying to do videos on it now because my hair is constantly changing. I'm constantly learning about new products, and I would do these videos and I would tell people about what's working for me. And then my brother and sister obviously both have curly hair, and my sister was really up for being in the videos, so then I'd film videos of her. And it was just sort of a way for me to connect with the world when the world was so silent and we couldn't do anything, but also to spark my creative passion.
Amazing. On Instagram, I saw a clip from the most recent episode, the concluding episode for 2025, where you mentioned the importance of knowing why you're in a room and knowing your purpose in that room as a multifaceted creative, knowing which version of yourself that you're bringing into the room. Since starting Young and Unscripted, how has the perception of yourself through others changed when you step into those rooms now?
It's so funny because I actually remember when I started Theatre Spec and Rep Company, this was the very early days of the podcast. But people were obviously, we were all trying to get to know each other. So we were like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? I was like, oh, I have a podcast. And one of my friends, she was like, oh my gosh, so is that your job? Is that how you make money? was like, I wish someone please pay me for the podcast. If that could be my full-time thing, I'd be happy. I guess it's that thing as well, again, of appearance versus reality, right? It's what people see of you. And then because of that, they then make up this idea of what you do. Yeah, I mean, I think as well, I've obviously had a lot of my friends on the podcast as well, because being in this industry, you know, you meet loads of creatives and all of my friends inspire me. You inspire me. Everyone does, you know.
Which guest surprised you the most during your interview?
Oh, that's such a good question. So I had on Ashley Joseph, who was my director for rep for our monologue showcase. Of course, I knew he was amazing. I knew he was such an incredible actor, director, person. He's just an incredible person, and his energy is amazing. So I knew it was going to be a great episode, but I think it was one of the most valuable episodes I've had because his main field in acting is voiceover work. And that voiceover work is predominantly for children's TV. It was something completely different. So it surprised me because, I don't know, I kind of expected to sit down and have my usual conversation of, okay, how did you get into the industry and this and that? And obviously we spoke about that. But I think all of the gems that he dropped from being in the field, but in a different space to what I'm in, really, I don't know, just really helped me, and I loved it. And I think it was just genuinely a really interesting conversation. And of course, all of my interviews, they're so interesting, and I love to listen to what everybody has to offer. But sometimes when people are in the same field of you, yes, they're dropping gems, but maybe things that you anticipated they would say. Whereas with Ashley, I didn't know because I've never been in the voiceover world or in children's TV. So I had no idea what he was going to say. So that was a really lovely episode. And also that day, TFL was not my friend. So I ended up being super late to the interview because the Northern Line wasn't running. So I had to run to like another train station to get on the Thames Link and do all of this weird random stuff. So we didn't actually have that long to film. Usually I have an hour and a half. We had 35 minutes to film an episode. And when I was editing it back, it ended up being one of my favorite episodes because of the energy. And now I know, like, a lot of spaces I'll walk in and I'll think to myself, oh, they would be interesting. That's literally what I do now. Whenever I go into a space, I'm like, oh, could they be a guest on my podcast? I've met some amazing people, but some that I'm like, oh, actually, I don't think that they'd be a great guest on the podcast. Maybe because of the way that, I don't know, just like an energy or the way that they talk about things. I don't know. Like, I know exactly what my audience is and I know what people are looking for. Energy was a really big thing. And I think he taught me that because we were able to get a great episode in 35 minutes because he was just so amazing and bubbly and had also a lot of knowledge to share.
Incredible. I wanted to ask you, what was the most valuable learning moment? I know you lost the episode with Alex, but which moment in particular was the most valuable in terms of the learning process?
Wow. There's been a lot. I think at the beginning, my tech skills, Noah, are so incredibly awful that, so with Alex's one, we actually lost the footage. Like, it just went. I then learned how to properly use the camera. And then with Toby's episode, I don't know what I did. It was showing on the camera, but then when I put it into my computer to edit, it wasn't there. So then I remember freaking out and being like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I had the audio, but I didn't have the video. And then weeks after, I'd posted maybe like 2-3 videos since Toby's episode. I was looking through all of the settings and I stumbled across his video. And I was like, oh, I did film it. I knew I filmed it. It was just in a different setting. Then I learned about that and how to navigate that. And I guess just learning the camera, which was a really important thing that I should have known before. But I was just so excited about interviewing and hosting that the technical side went out the window. So yeah, I think learning my tech, that was really valuable through so many episodes. There's so many that we've had technical difficulties on. I think the energy thing was a really valuable moment for me with Ashley's and with so many other people as well. And actually, another episode which never aired is when we were invited to London Fashion Week and we were supposed to be covering it. We got there and it was a mixture of two things. Firstly, a mixture of us being nervous. The modeling space, as much as both Naomi and myself, we model, we are in that industry, but we know the acting industry a lot more, a lot better. We're much more comfortable in that industry. We got to the door and they were like, "Are you here for press?" And we were like, "Yeah." They were like, "Who are you here for?" And we started, we were like, Young Unscripted, Sienna and Nate. Like, we didn't know, we were freaking out, like this was so new to us. So I think that combination of being scared and going in, and also, to be honest, if I'm speaking really open and honestly here, it wasn't a welcoming environment. You walk into acting spaces, and we went to BBTAs, and everyone was like, everyone just had like the best energy. Everyone was so excited. But the modeling industry, it was, quite closed off. So we didn't really feel welcomed. We were kind of like ushered to these seats, just being like, "Oh, just sit there," sort of thing. And then we had to film this video, and no one really seemed approachable, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure there were people who were, but, people weren't sitting there smiling at us. So the content that we got from that day was not to our standard. We didn't want to post it. And yeah, it wasn't really what we hoped it'd been. So I think, as I said, it's a combination of being nervous, being worried that, we didn't belong in that space. And we absolutely did belong in that space, but we didn't feel that we did. And also just, it being our first time there, so not really knowing the world that we were supposed to be in. And of course, we hope to be invited to Fashion Week again, but next time we go about it a lot differently.
So, as we enter the new year, Sienna, what can we expect in the future from Young and Unscripted?
You can expect everything to be bigger and better. We're well into Act 2 now. We're really excited about Act 2. We started off strong with Roy Williams and we went to the BBTAs. You can expect more of that. The quality is going to be so much better, and we're really, not that we didn't take it seriously before, but we're leveling up and we're really taking it seriously now, and we want this to be our thing. So we're carrying on with that. We have 3 niches. So Panya is who you go for if you want to learn more about how you can get your mind, body, and soul ready for the industry, because it all really does start from within. If you don't believe that you're going to make it, then there's no point trying, because you're not. And then Naomi is sort of your agony aunt, that person that you always tell your dilemmas to. If you have any career dilemmas, please send them in through our email or through our DMs, and Naomi will be answering them. And then I'll be carrying on with the interviews. I love the interviews. It's my favorite thing to do. And I want it to be more like the BBTAs. I want to be going out more. As I said at the beginning of this episode, Creators House has closed down now, so I don't have a studio anymore. So I need to be going out more. And I want to collab with theatres. I want to be turning up the National Theatre and asking the cast questions and interviewing the cast and, all of the other amazing theatres that we have. I want to be collaborating with them and just being outside of the studio and giving you guys more and more opinion. I think you guys really love that from the BBTA. So that's my hope. But yeah, keep an eye out for 2026 because it's going to be amazing.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm going to be watching.
Yay.
We're moving towards the end. So, Sienna, I'll ask you the Platform Z quickfire questions. Are you ready?
Go on. I'm ready. I hope I can make them quick because I speak so much.
That's okay. These are never quickfire. I think next season we're going to make them more quickfire. What was the most recent thing that inspired you?
The most recent thing that inspired me was actually my nan. Sorry, it's going to take a bit of a different turn. But my nan recently passed away. She passed away in October to cancer. And honestly, seeing her fight and be so courageous, that inspired me so, so much. She had a real fight to live. And that made me promise myself and her that I would fight to live as well, and make sure that I live the best possible life that I can, because you never know when it's your time. And I want to make sure that I achieve everything that I've ever wanted, all of my dreams, all of my hopes, all of my aspirations. I want to achieve them. So yeah, she inspired me to make sure that 2026 and all of the years after that are going to be my best year, because in honor of her, I've got to.
My condolences. I'm so sorry, Sienna.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure you're making her proud. I'm sure she is very proud, and I know you'll honor her in the best way. What is your goal for this month?
You know what? It's so funny because I have really broken down 2026 into goals and achieving them. I actually have told myself that each month I'm doing a bingo card so that I can tick off my goals. And I have an overarching one for the year. I have my January one, it's on my fridge, and I keep on, putting the stickers on when I achieve them. So actually, I think my overarching goal for this month is to create healthy habits so that I can sustain myself for the rest of the year. I was watching a video a few days ago, and it was reminding me that 2026 and the year in general, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I am someone who definitely likes to just go for things, but I have to remind myself that no, put in the foundations at the beginning of the year, and then the fruits of your labor will be shown at the end. Just keep on working, create a steady pace. Don't go all at it because you'll burn out. And I have burnt out before. So I want to make sure that I'm just, creating healthy habits and ready to go into the rest of the year.
Come on, prepared.
Yeah,
I love it.
Let's do it.
I love it. What's one bad habit that you need to get rid of?
Procrastination. I say all of these things and I'm like, I have my bingo card, I have this, I have that. And even though, I work through it, but I procrastinate like there's no tomorrow. And my main problem with that is, I could be really busy in a day, but I'll have maybe like 2 hours free, and I'll be like, oh, I won't be able to do all of that in 2 hours. I'll do it the next day. And the next day, it's the same problem. Oh, I don't have an extra hour. You know what, Sienna? You know what you could do? You could start it. You might not be able to finish it, but you could start it. And I think that's what I need to work on, is just, just starting it. Because it will help me in the long term, and it will mean that before the deadline, I won't be, cramming everything in at 12 o'clock. I'll be trying to, gradually do it.
Yeah, it's a big one that comes on here. I think we all struggle with it, definitely.
Yeah.
What does joy look like to you?
Joy, just being content, being fulfilled, being surrounded by those you love, those that champion you, those that you can be yourself around. But also recently, joy has meant simplicity. And before, I always saw joy as this grand thing, like, oh, I am my most happy when I am doing this crazy thing, like when I'm jumping out of a plane. Not that I've done that. Yeah, I do want to do that at one point. I do want to skydive. But, that's what I would have used to say, like when I'm doing something amazing. But actually, recently, just spending that time with your friends and your family, and that radical joy, it just coming from the most random thing. Later, I'm going on a walk with my friends, and I think I'll have so much joy in that, just chatting to them and just walking and talking about life and finding the joy in the moments that maybe you didn't think you would. I think as well, like on Christmas Day, this was my first Christmas without my nan, but it was actually really, really lovely. And of course, there were moments that we were there sat at the table being like, oh, there's a missing seat, like someone should be sat here. But actually, all of us sharing that experience of grief, but being together in it and taking each other through it and, playing games and honoring my nan, I think that was really joyful.
Wow, I'm actually welling up. That's so beautiful. Yeah, I'm so glad that you guys could have that experience and the strength in the family and the love. That's incredible. When have you felt the most love?
Again, it's got to be another family thing, but my mum. My mum really taught me what unconditional love is. She champions me through anything. She is my biggest supporter. She is the reason that I am the person that you know today. that's because of my mum. You know, she is my best friend. She is my mum. She is everything. You know, we are so close, and I really couldn't do any of this without her. And for me, that's unconditional love. Yeah, through everything. Even when I'm like, what am I doing with my life? What do I do? She believes that I'll make it.
Wonderful. Come on. Shout out to all the moms.
Shout out to the moms. Mother's Day
Absolutely.
is coming up soon, guys.
That's true. Yeah. Good reminder, Sienna. Good reminder.
Yeah.
Final question. What's the one thing you'd change in today's society?
The pressure. I think I would change the pressure put on everyone, like the ridiculous societal expectations to have everything figured out. And to be honest, I think that stems from school. And so I'd like to change the school system. But this idea that I should have everything figured out by 16. At 16, you pick your A-levels. Your A-levels determine what degree you can do or what you can do in life. And so you're kind of stuck to this one career path, and then you go to university. It's so interesting because so many of my friends are finishing university this year, and they're all like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to have a career in the degree I chose. I'm like, wow, I wonder if we had a few more years to figure it out, if our options were left open for just a little bit longer, I wonder if you would have chosen a different degree, or to go to uni at all, or to do this, or to travel, or, you know, whatever it is. I think the pressure put on us at such a young age is ridiculous.
How close were we to seeing Sienna as a marine biologist or a psychologist working in prisons?
Wow. Okay. Marine, you've done your research, Noah. I love this. Marine biologists. You probably weren't that close to seeing this marine biologist. It was one of those child dreams. I'm still fascinated by the ocean and by everything that goes on under there. However, being a psychologist in a prison, now that is something that still inspires me, actually, and something that still really, I have this sort of like nerve that feels like it needs to be put in place. And who was I speaking to, actually? I think it was Philip. Did Philip go to prison? I can't, no, I was speaking to someone, and someone was it Ashley? It was someone that I was speaking to in the creative industry, and they were saying how, I think it was Ashley, how he went into a prison and he did this performance, and he would speak to all of these people and do these shows and inspire people through acting and through theatre. And that, oh my goodness, I would love to do that. I've always seen theatre as a catalyst for change, and what a brilliant way to do it. Yeah, definitely working in a prison still fascinates me.
I love it. Well, you're doing all of the right things as far as I can tell. So
thank you.
Thank you so much, Sienna, for coming on to the podcast. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all of your amazing answers. Please take a moment now to tell the listeners where they can find you, what you've got going on, what you've got coming up.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me, Noah. I really, really enjoyed this. I've had the best time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story, to speak. So thank you. And you can all find me on socials, Sienna Galea-Tudor, to keep up to date with everything that I'm doing. But more specifically, please, please, please support Young and Unscripted. It's my baby. It's my lifeline. And I promise you, we have some really great things lined up for 2026. So please, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Spotify, Young and Unscripted podcast, you will find us. And yeah, join us on the ride. Be one of our supporters. Be a part of the family.
Amazing. That will all be linked down below as well, so you can find everything in the description. Thank you, Sienna. As well, just to finish off, this is the final episode of season 1 of the podcast. Thank you all for listening. We've done 20 episodes over 20 weeks. I am very tired. I need a break, but we will be back. We will be back. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you to all of the guests that have come on. It's been an amazing journey. Look at what we've created. We've created something really special. So thank you all.
Congrats.
Take care. Thanks, Sienna. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.